Yes. Jerry Abrahams.
Here.
Cindy Butts. Commissioner Dahm. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranzo. Heidi de Weingart.
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri. Timothy Hodges. Catherine McKinnon.
Here.
Commissioner Mosquera Bruno.
Yeah.
Commissioner Perez. Franklin Perry. Chelsea Ross.
Here.
Sarah Sanders.
Here.
Lisa Tepper Bates. Greg Ugalde.
Here.
We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Don,
Here, by the way.
Don, Phil DeFranco's here also.
Thank you, Phil. Duly noted.
And then George Perez.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's 10:01 and I call the meeting to order. Dawn, could you do the public comments if there is anyone?
Absolutely. This is the only opportunity on the agenda for the public to provide comments. If you would like to provide a comment, please unmute yourself and state your name, or if you are in the room, please let us know. To ensure that everyone has the opportunity, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Hearing no comments, the public comment period has now ended. Commissioner, back to you.
Thank you, Dawn. Next is the report from Nancy.
Great, thank you. Good morning, members of the board and Madam Chair. I hope you're all enjoying this beautiful late summer, early fall-like weather that we're having now. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you to all of you for responding to our poll, soliciting your participation in our November meetings. We're going to be moving our November meetings to the end of the month, which is after Thanksgiving, November 30th. We're planning on having the mortgage committee meeting as usual virtually on the Tuesday of that week, which is November 28th. And the in-person / virtual finance and board meetings will be at CHFA, which I'm sure that some of you haven't been to in a while, so that'll be a nice way to bring you back. And we are planning on doing an in-person only board retreat / strategic planning session. And just so you know kind of what to expect, we're hoping to continue the conversations we had in June, but also provide you the opportunity to engage with each other, which was something that I know you had asked for in the feedback for the last retreat. We're expecting that in-person strategic planning session to start around 11:30 after the board meeting, and lunch will be provided. In other news, CHFA, as part of the last legislative session, CHFA was asked to participate in the majority leaders roundtable for coming up with solutions to the affordable housing crisis in Connecticut. I've been a participant in all of the meetings that I've occurred to date with a designee for a couple of them. There are 2 working groups that are currently things I'm interested in being a part of. One of them is examining barriers or impediments to affordable housing creation in Connecticut with possible solutions, as well as best practices or success stories from other states. So my understanding is that the group is supposed to produce actionable recommendations for the majority leaders in the forthcoming sessions. Commissioners also as part of that roundtable, as is Cindy Butts. DOH is holding its inaugural housing summit in a week, November 2nd. We are going to be providing a link to all board members for you to register. It is free of charge. It's going to be held at the Convention Center in Hartford. It is a half-day summit from 9 to approximately 2 o'clock. I think we are expecting the governor to make some remarks and to have a fireside chat with the commissioner. CHFA is going to be participating on 2 panels around time to own and build for CT. Finally, a couple things. One is that at the last meeting, I had provided our intention to the board about entering into an MOA with the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and the Connecticut Green Bank. We did execute such MOA on a coalition application for the state of Connecticut to the EPA for funding in the Solar for All competition of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, which was created by the Inflation Reduction Act, passed by Congress last year. We don't expect to hear about the application by the state until sometime early next year. But if funds were to be awarded to the state, we expect to participate in a revolving loan pool for affordable multifamily housing developments to realize the benefits of both rooftop solar and community solar with the funds. And finally, I'm not sure I provided this update to you all last month, but I'm very happy to report that My Home CT, which was the homeowner assistance fund dollars that were received by the state during COVID, have been fully allocated. The state received about 123 million, of which 109 or so million were programmatic dollars. Were fully allocated. We have not expended all of the money, as staff and our vendor are still processing applications that came in before we closed the portal to new applications. We still expect to make reports to Treasury on a quarterly basis, and we'll be doing final closeouts once all of the monies have been expended. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nandini. Any questions for Nandini?
I was curious for the summit, who will be your attendees? Like, what are the categories of people that are going to be attending the summit for Department of Housing?
So there will be service providers, developers, funders, is all the groups that we work with. Advocates, everybody that is in the space.
Okay, sounds good.
We're also trying to focus on realtors. We're finding that some of the feedback we're getting from realtors is that they are often the least convinced about CHFA's programs, and so we want to do more outreach to realtors. It's just part of our strategic direction, and so as part of this housing summit, we're trying to enlist as many realtors as possible to listen to, you know, to hear another realtor on the panel talk about their experience with CHFA and learn about our programs.
Yeah, we have about, I think it's 6 workshops, and those are actually programs that we have. Those are kind of the new programs that we started last year. So we want to make sure that everybody knows about them, participate. And the other thing is that they can connect. I realized after I have meetings with service providers across the state, about 200, and then we have forums with developers, another 200 people, because we have like 4 or 5 forums across the state that they're not connected. And some of the service providers need housing for the group of people that they serve. And we want to provide that space. Besides the workshops, there will be a time for networking by area between developers, service providers, and other people that wants to connect with their counterparts on the city or by region. And the governor will be there. So it's gonna be a fun half day. Any other question? All right, so moving on, Azin, you're gonna present an amendment to a resolution.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. For your consideration is a resolution to amend a resolution approved by the board in February 2022. At the March 2021 meeting, the board authorized CHFA to procure a credit line totaling 75 million to preserve single-family loan prepayments, a precious CHFA resource for future loan originations. At the February 2022 meeting, the board also authorized CHFA to procure a credit line totaling 75 million to warehouse and facilitate the timing between purchasing loans from lenders and pledging mortgage-backed securities to the bond program. Due to the rise in interest rate, CHFA has seen a drop in loan prepayments and an increase in loan production. In light of this development, CHFA needs additional warehouse capacity to accommodate its growing pipeline and is requesting the board to approve the amendment, which would increase the total warehouse facility to 150 million and let the existing loan prepayment credit line expires. The resolution was presented to Finance Committee, and the committee asked questions around the purpose of the facility, the history behind it, the nature of the pay down, the expectation of the line that it will be paid down and used in the future. The resolution was approved unanimously by committee, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the board may have regarding the request.
Thank you, Hazim. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution, to amend the resolution? And everything else that was there?
I'll move, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Second,
Any comments or questions? All right, John, could you do the roll call, please?
Jerry Abrams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahm, Wendy Clark.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mosquero Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Motion carries. Thank you, Don. Moving on, Mortgage Committee has been pretty busy. You have 2, 4, 5 items that we need to approve. So Pat, are you gonna present the first resolution?
I will, yes.
And
Thank
the
you.
fifth?
Good morning, everybody. At Tuesday's Mortgage Committee meeting, Joe Vocio presented a request for financing for Bedford Gardens in Hartford. The request included tax exempt bond proceeds for a construction loan and an amount of up to $12,010,000, paying interest only at a rate not to exceed 6.05% for not more than 24 months. And tax exempt bond tax exempt bond proceeds for a permanent loan of up to $3.4 million, interest only for 24 months, then converting to a 40-year fully amortizing permanent loan, paying principal and interest at a rate of not to exceed 6.9%. And finally, a request for a $1 million opportunity fund loan with an interest rate not to exceed 1%. Bedford Gardens is an existing unrestricted 84-unit multifamily community in the Clay Arsenal area of Hartford. There is one unit that is utilized as the management office. The intent of the developer is to complete a substantial rehabilitation of the property, including roofs, windows, doors, lights, and mechanicals. In addition, 9 units will be made accessible. All 84 units will now be restricted. The developer is Wind Development. The GC is Keith Construction, and the architect is the architectural team. The PSA has a closing deadline of November 8th, at which time Wind will utilize an internal line of credit to acquire the property prior to our closing with the approval of this resolution today. The request was approved unanimously by the mortgage committee on Tuesday.
May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Have a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Heidi. Any comments or questions? Dawn, could you please do roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahm,
Yes.
Wendy Clark,
Mm.
Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
The vote passes unanimously.
Carries. Pat, could you go to the next one, please?
Sure. On Tuesday, Sarah Simonelli presented a request for a construction-only mortgage from tax-exempt bond proceeds in an amount not to exceed $14 million at a rate not to exceed 6.06% for 24 months to the Mutual Housing Association of Southwestern Connecticut for the rehabilitation of Parkside Gables in Stamford. Parkside Gables is a 69-unit mutual housing association community created in 1991 under the State Act. The association has been failing for many years, and the property is in need of major rehabilitation as it has not received any major upgrades since its inception in 1991. CHFA and DOH staff have, including the Commissioner and Nandini, have attended multiple meetings with residents and developers to ensure that residents are properly informed as to what is planned. I participated in one of those meetings the very first day I came back last year. The property consists of 9 2 and 3 story buildings. The buildings will be renovated one at a time. Residents will be relocated into hotels on a building by building basis. Upon completion, the residents will be moved back into the units on a permanent basis. No tenants should be forced to leave. There is one family, however, that has 10 residents that the community will not be able to support moving forward. And the plan is to permanently relocate them off-site. This property is proximate to downtown Stamford, just a few blocks away, and has access to all of Stamford's amenities. The request was approved unanimously on Tuesday by the mortgage committee.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I have just one comment. I need to recuse myself from this because Mutual Housing has a slight involvement with the project.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, Dawn?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahm,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Recuse.
thank you, Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
The vote passes with one abstention.
Thank you, Dawn. Motion carries. Next one, Pat, the financing of Village at Park.
Yes.
River.
Yes, at first I will present Village at Park River Phase 6A. Trayvon Perry presented a request for permanent only mortgage of up to $2 million from taxable bond proceeds at an interest rate of up to 7.5% with a a term and amortization of 35 years. And a request for a construction of permanent opportunity fund loan in the amount of $1 million. Interest only for 24 months at 1%, and then continued accrual at 1% during the 35-year term. For Park River, for the Village at Park River 6A in Hartford. This phase of the development consists of the construction of 32 units. It is part of the larger redevelopment of the former Westbrook Village site in Hartford. Westbrook Village was one of the oldest public housing complexes in Hartford and was demolished several years ago. When complete, the new community will include 440 new units. The development was awarded 9% credits in 2023. Additionally, the city of Hartford has provided approval for a 15-year tax abatement. The developer is Penrose, who has partnered with the cloud companies. Haynes Construction is the general contractor. This is one of the final 2 phases of the development. The same development team has participated in all previous phases, so we do not expect any difficulties or delays in the completion of these 2 final phases. The request was approved unanimously by the mortgage committee.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
A second? Yeah,
So moved.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, Dawn, could you do the roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawn,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranzo,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mosquera Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez.
Yes.
Thank you. Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders. I'm sorry, Sarah, I didn't catch that.
Aye.
Thank you. Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dawn. Pat, the next resolution for phase 6B.
Yes, so this is phase 6B of the Village of Park River. Trayvon also presented this as a request for this the 6B phase of this redevelopment. The request for 6B consisted of a permanent only mortgage loan of up to $2 million at a rate of up to 7.5%, fully amortizing over 35 years, and a construction of permanent loan in the amount of up to $1 million from opportunity funds at an interest rate of 1% interest only for the first 24 months, and then accruing interest during the 35-year permanent term. This phase will consist of 44 new units with 33 1-bedrooms and 11 2-bedrooms. The development team is the same as I mentioned in phase 6A, and so again, we do not expect any difficulties or delays in the completion of these final phases of this project. This request was also approved unanimously by the mortgage committee.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved, Heidi.
A second?
Second, Chelsea.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Dawn, could you please do roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawn,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranzo,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mosquera Bruno. Sorry, Commissioner, I think I heard you say yes, but I just want to confirm. Thank you. Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Motion carries. Pat, the last resolution.
Yes, my last. So lastly, Michelle and Alfredo, they presented a request to the mortgage committee for the return of 2022 9% LHTCs in the amount of $1,018,146, and for the approval of an allocation of 2023 credits in the same amount to Glendower McConaughey Terrace for its development in New Haven. The exchange is necessary as, due to delays, the project will not be able to meet its placed in service deadlines. This return in exchange does not impact CHFA's credit ceiling for 2023, as the 2022 credits that are being returned will be reclassified as 2023 credits, replacing dollar for dollar what is being reallocated to McConaughey. The request was approved unanimously by the mortgage committee.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve resolution?
So moved.
You have a second?
second,
Any comments or questions? Okay, Dawn?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahm,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Bill, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, yes.
thank you. Heidi Weingart,
Aye.
Claudia Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon.
Aye.
I'm sorry, will you say that one more time? I didn't quite catch you.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Agalde.
aye,
The vote passes unanimously.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Pat, anything else from the mortgage committee?
Yes, at the mortgage committee, I reported as requested. If you recall, back in January of this past year, we presented a modification request for Cherry Street Lofts in Bridgeport. And I'm happy to announce that on May 5th of this past year, we did receive the $6.5 million final equity installment from CREA, reducing the balance of the construction loan from $11 million to $4.5 million. And Michelle Onofrio was able to, after I think 8 years and 7 different board presentations, was able to close the modification successfully on October 4th of this year. So we are now closed. All the loans are all performing as agreed, and they now have 24 months to establish their final takeout financing. So
Thank you, Pat. Any comments or questions on that report? Kathy? Kathy?
That was just a clap.
Oh, all right, thank you, Pat. Other resolutions that we have, so Maura is going to present the resolution authorizing public comments period for proposed amendments to the Connecticut Housing Finance Authority administration procedures.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. We're here today to offer proposed amendments to CHFA's administrative procedures. These procedures are rules that guide us in our operations, in our rulemaking, in our practices regarding purchasing and personnel. From time to time, we review these procedures to make sure that they're up to date with law, current law, and practice. These were last updated in 2015. With us today is Trisha Riley of Mirth and Kalina, our outside employment counsel, who together with our general counsel, Terry Calderon, has provided legal guidance on the review of these procedures. We visited the Personnel Committee and have incorporated feedback from the Personnel Committee with regard to Section B and in the memo with regard to Section 8. So Madam Chair, I defer to you in terms of the approach. I can go through section by section or field questions. I would just note as a preface that the material changes to these procedures will be found in sections D and E regarding purchasing and personnel.
Thank you. In the personnel, went over these changes, and we didn't find any, we were okay with it, with them. So if any board member have any questions, if you read the draft, I think it was red line, right?
Yes.
Do you have any questions? Otherwise, we'll move to approve the resolution. Okay, hearing on, Dawn, can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Have a second.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? Dawn, could you please do a roll call?
Of course. Jerry Abrahams,
Sorry, I was on mute. Aye.
thank you. Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahm,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFronzo,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudia Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Motion carries. Hazin, you're up with the presentation of the 2024 draft budget and plan of operations.
Yes, good morning again. Dawn, can you go back? Should be, yep, go back some more. Back some more. Yep, okay, there we go. So good morning again. So this morning I'm just going to touch a bit and provide the board an overview of the 2024 annual budget. As the board remembers, last month we did present an amendment to, or a request for an amendment to the finance procedures, which we clarified and we made changes as to when we would provide an overview of the annual budget for the succeeding year. So for the month of October is the time when we will provide a draft. And then the following month, we will present a formal resolution for approval. So let's just dive in straight away. So Don, let's go to the next page. So the theme for 2024, no surprise, everyone has been talking about interest rate. You can see there's the three circle, no matter how you look at it, this is where in the world we are living in right now, which is good news means bad news. So good news from a standpoint of you have high employment, consumers are spending, but from the Fed standpoint, that just means that there's a lot of activity in the economy and it's causing the economy to become too hot. So from their point of view, when they see that inflation is high, they would act, and the way they would act is they will increase interest rate. And if they see that inflation is coming down, then the Fed will then reduce interest rates. So that's the reason why you see those three circles and how it behaves and how it's connected to each other. So what the Fed is trying to do, if you've been living under a rock, is they're trying to change consumers' behavior and they're trying to curb and temper spending. So effectively, they do want consumer to save more and spend less. So let's go to the next page. So what does this mean to CHFA and what we do as an organization? So from CHFA standpoint, high interest rate does provide higher reinvestment income. So reinvestment income from our point of view is supplementary income. And that to us is good because what it provides is it allows us to do more stuff. It allows us to pursue and provide more mission-driven initiatives, and then also pursue other initiatives that if you don't have the cash, it is harder to do for sure. However, let's not lose the fact that high interest rate also means that our borrowing costs will go up. But that's when where we shine the best under a high interest rate environment, which is we issue tax-exempt bonds. So in a high interest rate environment, there's going to be a lot more demand for tax-exempt bonds because that's the lowest cost of capital for CHFA, or is the most efficient borrowing vehicle for CHFA. Now, on the homeownership side, because we are able to issue tax-exempt bonds, we are also able to offer below market interest rate. We did touch on this during finance committee. Our product right now is definitely desirable by first-time buyers. And to go along with that, we are also seeing high subscription for our down payment assistance program and our time to own program. Now, to couple with that, in the private sector, the secondary market is currently not efficient. As you know, that when we offer our product, we are not the only one that's offering mortgage loan products. You do have private sector that depends and relies on the secondary market for them to place a closed loan, and then they will look for investors. So that's generally what secondary market means. But because of the high interest rate, right now that market is essentially not really performing just because the rate is so high, and there is a fear that if in an event that interest rate comes down or the Fed reduces interest rate, loans are going to prepay. So for investors to buy these loans in the secondary market, because they pay premium to acquire those loans, if loans prepay, they will lose money. So that's part of the reason why the secondary market is not really efficient. And because also of the high interest rate, we also have seen less refinancing. So lenders, especially non-bank lenders, for them to continue to be relevant, they are looking at other avenues in terms of how to produce and to originate business. So that's also part of the reason why we are seeing more lenders sending loans our way. On the multifamily side, just like what you heard this morning when Pat was presenting, we are still a lender that provides and take more risk than your typical lenders. We do provide loans 30-year, 35-year, or 40-year terms. So generally, the financial institution, they don't like to be on that long end, again, for the same reason, because they don't know what's going to happen and they do not want the loans to be on their balance sheet for too long. So generally in that space, you would see more of a balloon product. But where we shine, because of the high interest rate, we are going to see that our ITA and our opportunity fund will be fully subscribed for the calendar year of 2024. And then lastly, just like the homeownership space, everyone heard that the Fed has implemented, or at least has announced, new capital requirements for lenders. Lenders that operate in our space are generally small and mid-level banks. They are not the big financial institution just like JP or Bank of America, unless they are pursuing it for CRA purposes. So for lenders in this space, due to this new capital requirements, they are also looking at how they need to redeploy to ensure that they comply with the new federal requirements, but also trying to manage their risk because of the overhang and the need of liquidity on both ends, one on the lending side and one is for the capital requirements. So next page, please. Okay, so this should be familiar to you. I presented this last July, and since all board members passed when I presented this last July, I'm also providing my notes. So you can view this and think about it as like a cheat sheet. So everything that's in the red will correspond to the what do you call that, the budget book. So let's just start like the highlights. Again, when we present, our budget is based on a zero-based approach. So what it means is we don't take into consideration any adjustments or any carryover from the prior year. So if we have excess or we have a deficit, we don't reflect that for the new calendar year. Everything starts from zero. So when it comes to covering operations and capital investments, we are proposing for the calendar year 24 a budget of 44.7 million, which includes ongoing operations, and then 3 million for capital investments. And then the budget relies on gross margin. So I break it down for the board that represent 115 million of 115 million of revenues from loans, 133 million revenues from mortgage-backed securities, and 12.46 million from fees and other income. And then when you less the expenses from bonds, interest rates, swaps, and third parties, that represented below, which is 165 million, 17 million, and 6.8 million. Don, next page. So for the budget in total, the 44 million based on the ongoing expenses plus the capital investment, that's how we get to the 47.7 million. And that represents 67 basis points of our program asset of totaling 6.1 billion. Under the salaries and benefits component, we represent 68% of the overall budget. I listed the breakdown. Salaries is about 36% or 17 million. Benefits is 15.2 million or 32%. General admin ongoing is 12.5 million, which is 26%, and then the capital investment is 6%. So for salaries and benefit, it does include a 5.5 adjustment for COLA and merit. Next page, please. So this budget, what's going to happen is from that 47.7 million, we're going to fund the COI account on a monthly basis. So we are going to transfer beginning January 1, 2024, assuming this is approved, close to 4 million a month. Next page, please. Loan spread pays for everything. So this is talking about the current year for calendar year 2023. So when we went out, we basically said that we asked the board to approve. So from an actual point of statistics, we expect that we would expend 39.6 million for the calendar year 23. We do need to make certain adjustments in terms of what we need to cover for principal mismatch of totaling 10 million. And then what we have left over would be 20 million, which is what we expect we would going to deposit in the IPA and the opportunity fund. Now, just for the board's benefit, that 10 million is not really a loss per se, the one in the middle. So what's happening right now is, nothing lasts forever. When we sell bonds, specifically in the single family space, one of the structure that we would use during the sale is to sell a bond called planned amortization class bond, or what we call PAC bonds. And what it does is it goes out and we seek investors and we try to provide them certain assurance in terms of how we expect the bonds to be paid down. In an event that the behavior of the loan does not match the bond, what we would do is we would utilize our liquidity to make up the difference. So that's what's happening right now. When we sold PAC bonds in the past, it utilized certain assumptions regarding the behavior of loan prepayments. In a high interest rate environment, homeowners are not prepaying, homeowners are not refinancing as scheduled. However, we still need to make and match those contracts that we entered in the past. So that's the reason why we had that 10 million. So what it means is we would utilize liquidity from our resolution to pay down the bonds, And then those assets with loans that did not repay or did not refinance becomes asset of the general resolution. So we're not really losing anything. It's just that we're converting cash into loans. Okay, next page. So the timing for the budget. So the first one would be to request for approval on November 30th. So this is the new date, as Nandini mentioned, that we are moving the meeting date for November to the end of the month. And then the next item would be to determine the amount available for IT and Opportunity Fund. Part of the reason why I use projected is because we would do all the reconciliation after November 15, and November 15 is significant because that's the date that we pay bond debt service. And once we pay bond debt service, we need to make sure that the reserve requirement is fully satisfied, because then the next thing we need to do is to provide a certificate that is signed by our board chair to the Secretary of OPM that the reserve fund for the SCAF, or the Special Capital Reserve Fund, is fully funded, and we do not need any funds from the state to cover any deficit. So the next page is done, is the package. So you can read it through your leisure. Essentially is the same thing. The first two paragraphs is just trying to provide an introduction to the budget. And then I provided a highlights for the first 3 quarters through September 30th. And again, the theme is about the Fed trying to grapple and trying to reduce inflation to their levels. And then that's all information about how we did, what we did, and then why we believe we need additional resources set aside for the budget to pay for our plan for 2024 and our need to invest in ourselves. So that's part of the reason why that we are seeking the board to approve a $3 million set aside capital investment for the CHFA's organization, for it to improve its infrastructure, both on the physical side and also on the IT side. So that is my short and sweet version of the 2024, but I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you, Hassan. Anyone? Any questions? Comments? Well, Hassan, I think you did a great job because nobody has any questions. Thank you. I just wanted to, I was listening to the Finance Committee, and we are doing a great, or the staff is doing great on production, both the homeownership and the multifamily. I think we have doubled production. In addition to the staff, I think that I also wanted just to acknowledge that the governor has put significant resources. So with the TTO, the time to own is 150 million for these next 2 years. And that allow us to do all these mortgages. And with the production of the multifamily, because of the interest is high, we also have significant resources infused into these projects. So I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the governor's support for all the affordable housing that we're doing in the state. If nobody has any questions, we'll move to our last item on the agenda, and that is to approve the consent agenda. If I can have a motion.
So moved.
To approve the budget, did we approve the budget?
No, no, that was a draft presented.
Oh, okay,
That's next, right.
sorry,
And you guys still have any, if you have any questions, please send
okay, sorry,
Anthony an email, and they will answer those questions.
Right.
gotcha.
So I got a motion, and can I have a second?
And I'll second it, George.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Don, could you do the roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlem,
Yes.
Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges, Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. The meeting, ended, but, before we end, or have an adjournment of the meeting, anybody has any questions, any comments, anything before the November 30th, board meeting?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have no problem coming. I still have to check my schedule because I needed to reschedule something that I had for because you changed the date for November. In general, I have no problems coming to in-person meetings. But my question is, in the future, you're gonna start making them all in person? Because that I will have a problem with, because at my age and a couple medical conditions that I have, I need to minimize the potential getting COVID, especially around this time of the year, which is high. So I was just wondering what the strategy of that is.
We haven't discussed it, and I think that at the November board meeting, maybe we can make a decision as a group.
Okay.
Sounds great. Anybody else?
Because I mean, I think having the virtual option is good. And if people want to come in person, so be it,
All right, anybody else? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Second. I
Second.
This is how much I want to get out of it. All right, all those in favor say aye, raise your
Aye.
hand.
Hi.
Bye.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
Commissioner.
all.
Thanks.